Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a special little video based on a Barnes & Noble / Black Friday haul of some very special movies that I've been meaning to watch, meaning to get a hold of physically, and also meaning to just have a copy of. Some movies that I watched that really impacted me and that I really enjoyed. So I don't know, this will be brief, but I will share with you what I got. Keep in mind that this was also just a sale that was running all through November. So Barnes & Noble I think maybe twice a year or something like that. They have a 50% off sale for their Criterion collection and I believe some Arrow Video stuff as well. So keep an eye out for stuff like that. I think the sale could possibly be going on right now on the 28th, the day that I'm shooting this. I don't know when this video is going to be out, but if so, maybe you missed your window. But if you already know, I'll let you know that November is usually that time if you want to splurge and get those special movies that are released on the Criterion collection. So I will be sharing some of those first, and then also be just sharing a couple movies that I got that were outside of the Criterion collection. I got some Arrow Video stuff as well as a 4K Blu-ray of one of my favorite movies ever. That all being said, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Please subscribe. Obviously, please subscribe to the channel below. Don't be distracted by my pimples. Also, just hit that like button because it's right there, and you can just click that, and that would mean a lot to me. Also, leave a comment down below, and I'll interact with you down there. That sounds inappropriate. I will reply back to your comment as best as I can. So, yeah, let's get on with it. The first movie that I want to talk about, or I guess better, movies that I want to talk about, is the Before Trilogy by Richard Linklater. These movies are incredible. It's Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and it's just one of the most succinct romance films, series or trilogies that you'll ever see in your life. And I don't think there's a lot of romance trilogies out there. I can't think of any on the top of my head, but I think this is one of the best, if there are more, and this is the best example of capturing romance on screen and also making you so immersed in two people just by dialogue alone. Just the way that they walk through these European countries and they just explore each other with just dialogue, and also physically they'll explore each other, but the way they just express each other's emotions throughout the course of a day or throughout the course of whatever length the movie takes place, you get to learn more about these characters just through their conversations, and you just fall in love with both of them, and you just hope for the best for them. And it's definitely one of the best examples of natural dialogue that I've ever seen put into the screen. It just feels so natural, and it's just because the chemistry that's captured here. And I can't wait to watch the special features on this. As you can see, I haven't opened any of these out of the plastic because I'm kind of weird like that. I was waiting for all of them to show up so I could take the plastic off each and every one of them, just because, I don't know, I'm just like that. But anyways, yes, the Before Trilogy, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you, please go watch these movies. They are very, very special. A lot of people have some thoughts on Before Midnight, which is the third in the trilogy. Some people didn't like how it ended. I, for one, think it ended perfectly. I mean, what do you expect? This is 3 chapters of these people's lives, and you get to see them all unfold, and it just feels like that's just a natural way that the conclusion would happen. And obviously, it's not like they both die at the end or something. It's not like the end of Notebook, but it ends in a way where you're like, okay, this is appropriate. And that's all I'll say if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I would love to talk about these in more depth, maybe even do a video on it someday in the future, but I feel like I'm talking too much about this and I'm gushing too much. So Richard Linklater, thank you for this. Yeah, the Before Trilogy. Now, some of these movies, like I said, I haven't seen them yet, so this is an example of a movie I have not seen, which is Come and See. I believe it is by, and I'm going to read it because I can't pronounce his last name very well, Elim Klimov. I always want to say Klimkov, but it's Klimov, or Klimov. Somebody correct me down below. From what I've been told, it's one of the greatest examples of what war actually is and the horrors of war. And there's a lot of movies that came out, and this movie especially came up in the discussion when 1917 came out last year. And a lot of people were saying that's not a war movie. That's like all polished and bleh. It doesn't represent the true brutalities of war, which is probably true. It probably doesn't, because I don't know. from my own experience, I don't know what war's like, but I imagine it's horrific. But for me, 1917 was a very special movie. I loved it. I loved the way it looked. Something about it just really captured me. But like I said, whenever that conversation happens, this movie is always mentioned. Come and see. They talk about just how raw the performances are. They talk about how brutal everything is put to screen, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being depressed for 2.5 hours. So yeah, come and see. So yeah, that was due to someone's recommendation, many people's recommendation to watch it. So glad that I finally have that, and maybe I'll do a video on that too. Maybe I'll do a video on all of these. Whatever. All right, next one. Now this one is Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. I actually didn't get this during the Criterion half-off sale. I actually got this way before, I think sometime around May or June or something like that. But Spike Lee, he was doing signings for his film, one of his biggest films, Do the Right Thing, and I was like, I kind of want to get a Spike Lee signature. I don't know if you guys can hear the washing machine. I'm gonna close my door. So Do the Right Thing is definitely one of the most explosive films coming from a director at his age, especially when he created this movie. It's all these little vignettes of all these people on the street of New York and kind of their interactions all coming up to a climax, which if you have watched the movie, it's very dark and it's also very, very, very much relevant to today. And it's crazy because this movie is over 30 years old, and it's a movie that's still relevant and still prevalent today. Big words. Anyways, yeah, this was signed by Spike Lee. I think it could have been his assistant or could have just been an intern, but he signed that up there, and I think he was doing it to, I think it was for something, raising money for something. I don't know the exact cause. I was just excited, and I'm sure that the proceeds went to a good cause. So this was a 2-in-1 kind of deal. I got a signature, and I also got to contribute to something good, and I also got to Do the Right Thing on the Criterion Collection, and the binding on this is beautiful. As you can see, it's not in plastic because I opened this a while ago, but yeah, gorgeous thing right there. Okay, putting that away. Another movie I haven't seen, keep in mind all the Criterion movies here, I have not seen most of them, and it's because I just wanted to get them because Criterion just has some of the best bonus features. I've watched a lot of clips on YouTube, and I'm just like, if I could just get my hands on some of the material that they have on these releases, then oh my god, I will dig in. So now that I finally have them, I have this beautiful, beautiful packaging for Dr. Strangelove with the Criterion Collection. It's kind of the dark comedy of wartime, and yeah, it's Dr. Strangelove. I haven't seen it yet. I really cannot wait to watch this and get to see this on Blu-ray and get to see the black and white in its full presentation, and also get to see the bonus features on this. I am looking forward to it a lot. I've heard very good things, and like I said, a lot of these are due to recommendations, but this is just a movie that I was like, I gotta see this just because I gotta see it. So yeah, classic film. Can't wait. Next. Now this is a movie that a lot of people have seen, and myself, I've seen this as well. No, I didn't need to say it. I saw this movie and I really liked it. I remember when The Irishman was coming out, especially during that Oscar season, a lot of people were saying, oh, the movie's probably overhyped. Martin Scorsese is trying to push this on Netflix. There was a lot of talk about it being kind of, it was just a display of what you would typically expect from a Martin Scorsese film. And I went in with kind of that mindset, and the talk of the town for this movie was obviously the special effects used to de-age Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. All that aside, if you kind of get over the whole Robert De Niro does not look like he's 20, 30 years younger. It looks like someone's just pressing his skin backwards a little bit with visual effects, and Joe Pesci as well. If you get past all of that, what you get is a very, very rich story about Robert De Niro's Frank Sheeran as he's maneuvering through his life, as we get to see him kind of grow up as a teamster, as a mobster, kind of performing hits for the gangs that he works for, and it's just a very interesting film. I haven't seen it in a while. I only watched it once. Keep in mind it's very long, so that's just kind of what you expect for most Martin Scorsese films. They're going to be very long, but they're going to be very rich in story, and they're going to take time to develop the characters. And once you get into that world, and once you get to see all the performances in this movie, you realize this movie deserved everything that it got in terms of recognition, nominations. It's just a very, very good movie. And if you haven't seen it, go see it. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but I have it on the Criterion Collection. It's got this beautiful artwork on there. Yeah, it's got this nice slipcover, and I've seen some videos online of what the actual packaging looks like, and it's mwah, beautiful. Chef's kiss. Moving on to the next one. Next on the list is the Jackie Chan Police Story and Police Story 2 collection. I watched these when I was very, very young. I just wanted this because of the nostalgia factor. Everyone used to tell me that my dad looked like Jackie Chan growing up. And so Jackie Chan has always been something of both a hero at home and also a hero on screen, just because I would always imagine, you know, my dad as kind of Jackie Chan in these stories. And I'd be like, yeah, there's my dad up there. He did Taekwondo. He did something different, but it was just fun, and that's kind of why I latched on to Jackie Chan. I remember watching these movies, and I remember how violent they were, so a lot of it I wasn't able to see as a kid, so I got to see the scenes that weren't as violent from what I remember. So yeah, now I get to see it as an adult. Now I get to appreciate Jackie Chan's stunt work and his choreography. Jackie Chan has always been such an entertaining choreographer when it comes to his fights. They always feel very natural, very energetic, and he manages to inject humor in there, which is just incredible, and I wish we saw more of that today. The closest thing I can think of is probably Upgrade, where they inject a lot of humor with some of the stunt choreography and the fight choreography. But yeah, you don't see a lot of that in today's stunt and fight choreography. I've said those two words a lot more than I should. So yes, the Police Story and Police Story 2 in this beautiful slipcover with this awesome, awesome artwork. Oh my God, it's just something about yellow or like light oranges and red text or black text. It's just, it's beautiful. So cannot wait. This looks amazing. So yeah, I've seen it, but it was a while ago. So I wish I could go in more depth, but. The next film is Late Spring, a film by Yasujiro Ozu, released in 1949. Obviously, Ozu's not with us anymore, but he left behind a legacy of great films such as this. I cannot wait to watch it. Yeah, and that's all I'll say about that. Here's the artwork on there. It's nothing too crazy. It's just some frames from the film. I heard it's a very heartwarming, very touching story. It's about a father and a daughter and kind of how they maneuver through this time where they have to make decisions that will, unfortunately, cause a rift between the two, cause them to be apart from each other. And that's a story that I think anyone can relate to, and it's a story that I really look forward to watching. So, yes, Late Spring. Here we go. Next one. Oh, Jesus. Next film is Life Aquatic. This is a film that I really loved growing up. It's a Wes Anderson film, and it's a film that really introduced me to Wes Anderson and his technique and his filmmaking style. And it's a movie that I think is very underappreciated. I love so far I've loved all of Wes Anderson's films, and maybe it's because of his quirky filming style, but this one especially really, really got to me as a kid. There's a specific scene there's a specific scene in this movie between Steve Zissou, played by Bill Murray, and Owen Wilson, who plays his son, that really broke me in a very, very good way. It's something that was very emotional in the film that you don't get a lot from Wes Anderson movies. You don't get a lot of tragedy in his movies. You do get some humor coming from the situations and how it's framed and how everything looks a lot more comedic, just because everything is so symmetrical and because everything is just presented on screen as if it's a painting. And so you find a lot of these moments in his movies where you're like, I shouldn't be laughing, but I am. But this specific scene for me really worked. Even the deadpan delivery from Owen Wilson in the scene, that aside, it still made me very sad, and that just shows how effective the movie was. I think this is a very underrated movie. I think it's a beautiful looking movie. I cannot wait to dig into this with my eyes. So, Life Aquatic, Steve Zissou, Wes Anderson, let's keep going. Well, obviously, I had to talk about Parasite, which is one of the best movies that has come out in the past decade. It's just a movie that has been talked to death, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot because I did talk about it briefly in one of my videos, which I will link down below, about my top movies of 2019 or something like that. So yeah, I did talk about this briefly. It's a very, very, very good movie. Please watch what I said in the other video down below. But look at this fucking packaging. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That's a slipcover, so you take that off and then you see the whole image, and these are little cutouts, and it's just, Look at that. I just wanted to get this for this. But also this film has exclusively, I believe, the black and white version, which I heard very good things about. And there's another video on YouTube that I watched that talks about the breakdown between the color and the black and white version. And I think I'll link that down below if you guys are interested in that. But it talks about kind of the differences and what makes one better and what makes one, I don't know, not worse. I'm not gonna say worse. Either way, you still get a good movie, but just the differences between the two and why you should watch one version over the other at certain points of your time watching this movie. That didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but I hope you get what I mean. So anyways, I'll link that down below. And Parasite, great movie. Man, I gotta speed through these. You know what? I might split this into 2 videos just because I feel like this is going on a little bit too long. So, next movie is Paris, Texas. It's a Wim Wenders movie. I have just heard very good things about Paris, Texas. I cannot wait to watch it for the first time. I've heard very great things about Harry Dean Stanton's performance. The late Harry Dean Stanton, rest in peace. And so, yeah, I can't wait to feast my eyes on this. I heard of how great the movie is composed, how well the shots are, how beautiful the colors are. On top of the story, which I don't know a lot about, I'm kind of going in blind because that's kind of the experience I want to have. I don't want to know anything about the movie, but Paris, Texas, I've heard very great things about. Cannot wait to watch it. There's the packaging with all the glare and blur that does not do justice for the movie. Okay, next one. The Princess Bride from the Criterion Collection. Wow, what can I say about just the packaging on this alone? If you can't tell, it's built like a storybook, and that's the thing about Criterion Collection. They just managed to do packaging better than I think any other physical media releases for movies. They just do it right. They include all the bonus features that I miss in movies, and that I wish I could go back to the time where you would spend hours just watching the bonus features for films. Now it's just all on YouTube, which kind of sucks. So yeah, The Princess Bride, I can talk this movie to death, but bottom line, you probably heard it all before. You probably watched it in high school and during one of your classes when your teacher was hungover. But this is just a classic film. It's got amazing performances, and yeah, what can I say about this? It's just the ultimate when you're sick at home and you want to turn something on and feel good about yourself and just feel happy. You turn on The Princess Bride. Just a fairy tale brought to life with very sharp humor, very sharp performances, and some of the most iconic lines ever. Yeah, you know the line. So, The Princess Bride. Love this. Love it. My next movie is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This movie was one of my favorite movies from 2019. It actually became my favorite movie of 2019, surpassing Parasite, surpassing 1917. It was fantastic. The performances in this are heartbreaking. The story is so beautiful, and if you just grab any frame from the movie, it's just, the colors are great. I'm colorblind, so when the colors are there, they pop. And for me, I was able to look at this like it was a Victorian painting. It was just a beautifully done movie, and the way that you kind of see the romance develop between these two feels so natural, feels so perfect, and you just wish for the best for them. It's just kind of like the Before trilogy, where you're just watching these two interact, the two leads, and you're just hoping that everything works out for them. But knowing the era, knowing the time period, and knowing what could happen to them if their romance was found out, you just realize it's not going to happen. When you look at two characters who are in love and you just hope for the best for them, that means you've accomplished everything you needed for the movie. It means you made a very great story, you made compelling characters, and that is why Portrait of a Lady on Fire was my favorite movie from 2019. Moving on to the next one. How can I not talk about Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai? It's just a fantastic movie. I hate that it took me so long to watch it, but yeah, it's just one of the most exquisite films that has ever graced the screens. It's obviously a movie that still holds up today. The packaging on this is gorgeous, but that aside, I'll talk about what I loved so much about this movie. I guess everyone who's watched Seven Samurai can praise Toshiro Mifune's performance, but every one of the other samurais still stands out. They have their moments, and just looking at this movie, it's just gorgeous. The use of black and white during a time where they didn't need to go black and white. Akira Kurosawa sought to create this movie in black and white. And when you hear about the production stories behind this, and when you hear about the scale of it, the only thing that we could think of now is kind of the Avengers movies in terms of scale and how massive production was. And then going back a little further, we could think of Lord of the Rings and how massive the production scale was for that. So think of that and apply that back to 1953, 1954 when they were making this movie, and that is what happened with Seven Samurai. And when you see all of those gears kind of coming together to create such a beautiful product like this, or not product, but a film, you know what I mean? You just get something so special, something so timeless, and performances that still resonate today. This movie is funny. This movie is action-packed. Obviously, the action doesn't hold up to kind of the stunt choreography that we have today, but it's a movie that feels timeless in its presentation. It feels real. There's no real, sword work or anything like that feels, visceral. It feels like it's smooth. It all feels janky, like you would holding a sword. So, I don't know, it still manages to feel real while also looking kind of cheesy, but the movie is still incredible. I loved it. So yeah, I can't wait to watch the bonus features on this. I've already watched the Criterion Collection version of this on the Criterion channel. So yeah, still, I got it. So, boom. Seven Samurai. The last movie I want to talk about is Punch Drunk Love. This is a movie starring Adam Sandler, directed by P.T. Anderson, and if you have not seen it, what are you doing with your life? It is a fantastic movie. Adam Sandler gives out one of his best performances that I've ever seen, and I've seen Uncut Gems, and I think this is toe-to-toe with that. It's a very good movie, and I have it on Blu-ray. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to do a part 2 talking about the Arrow video releases that I got and just some other things. So, thank you, and as always, I will see you later.